Good afternoon again. This is Doug Still, part 2 of dual battery systems. Cheap, inexpensive, easy, simple, works great, doesn't screw up. Here's my Suburban, my own one. I did something a little different than hers, than the rest of them. I'm a little different. I'm a mechanic, and I like to not have to be outside in the cold very much. And I have a lot of customers, and when I want to go jump start something, by golly, I want it to jump start. So I ran this welding cable, which is 2-aught, which is really heavy duty. I used copper ends, and I crimped them and then soldered them. Every one of these copper ends is soldered. This thing will back jump start easily. This battery's, I don't know, 900. It's a Group 79, 840 cranking hours, reserve capacity of 140, which means it's about an 80 amp hour. So this is my secondary battery. It fits in here barely. When I went to mount it, I made my own little bracket. It doesn't move. It is tight in here. I had to make my own plate on the bottom. And I don't know if you can see this right here. She was rubbing on the battery just a little bit, so I went ahead and clearanced her. This is my rig, so I get to do whatever it is I want. Okay? And then I made it all fits. Sits under the hood. Doesn't take up my valuable real estate inside my Suburban because I'm a great big fat guy and I need lots of real estate in there. A couple things. The positive, same as last time, runs to one post. The other post runs across, goes clear over there, and it runs into this junction box. Okay? You can see I probably ought to tape that up a little better than I am. And then this is the wire that runs to the alternator, like we talked about earlier in my other video. Pretty simple. It comes off the battery, goes to here, and then goes to the starter. On the Chevy Silverados, you can jump start off of this. It works pretty good. This old gal, she's had a life. 280,000 miles on this rig. I bought it. The lady hadn't changed oil in 5 years. Motor was bad, and the transmission went bad, of course, and the fuel pump, of course. And an alternator isn't very old. That's what you do to these. That's kind of about the list. Buy a battery and break them once in a while. They're awesome rigs. Anyway, back to my dual battery system. So one post comes from this battery, positive. The other one goes straight over to the other battery, positive. This one's ground. My trigger wire on this one, I made it black. And if you kind of follow that wire over there, you can see where it goes in. Okay. That is the harness that goes to the windshield wipers. And the way that works on these rigs, you turn the key on, the power goes to the windshield wipers, always. And then when you crank it, that wire turns off. Kind of a good deal. So when the car is running, that's on, in case the windshield wipers need to come on. And that triggers this, so this thing charges up. I start the car, it's charging both batteries. Instantly, automatically, can't screw it up. My poor memory and getting old age, no excuses, works fine. Coming off here also, there's a fuse. Better cover my fuse. 15 amp. Seems to run everything I need so far. And that goes back underneath the car, zip tied all carefully, and goes back to the back and runs my refrigerator and runs my lights and runs a couple other things. Mostly the refrigerator, honestly. Pretty simple. This battery, 840 cranking amps. That one's 800 crank amps. The alternator puts out 150 amps. I'm what, 1900 cranking amps? I could start a semi with it if it's 12 volt. And I got great big jumper cables. When it's cold outside, I don't like to screw around. I want to get the car started and get home. Pretty simple. Here's my Chevy alternator. Any size you want, from 100 to 150 amp. They all cost the same. 2000 to 2008's all about the same rig. Simple. I love these rigs. Everybody needs a Suburban. That's my theory in life. So, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you this other Suburban. Same exact parts we had earlier. I guess I'm going to put some of the stuff out of my way. I just grabbed all the wires and brought all the parts out. There's my $28 solenoid. In the other video, I showed you the part number. The wires are still all loose. I'll probably tighten those up before we get too far here. And I'm going to show you how you mount it in the car and hook it up to what's there. First thing I try and do is unhook the old battery. Okay, and I'm going to unhook this battery over here. Okay, pull it away. Well, then I'm going to stop and think for a minute. The dual battery system, if you unhook one battery, does not mean everything's unhooked. So this car still only has one battery, and we're going to be careful putting in this other battery that we don't make sparks and flames and that kind of stuff. No magic smoke. Magic smoke comes out of the wires, my fingers get burned. That's no good. I don't like that. So this is unhooked. Double think about it for a second. Okay. I got my lucky bucket full of self-tapping screws. That's all that is. I'm going to need a couple of them here sooner or later, so I set them all out. Got the socket, 10 millimeter. Do not over tighten these. Starter solenoids, or people are famous for they go to tighten them up too much and they break them. You want it kind of snug. You do not over tighten those. Another socket here for this. Being pretty careful, wasn't I? Yeah. Okay. Got my magic gun. Grab a socket off of this. I'm going to trade you sides if I could. Chevrolet spare battery goes in here really nicely. And I don't have a bracket made. I haven't used this size battery yet. I'll take this out. Got some more room to work. Chevrolet, they're 13 millimeters for these. I'm going to toss this out of the way for a minute. Oh, look, it fell on the ground. Oh, no, not that. I'm going to set the battery up in there. Logic being, I'm going to have, ooh, that kind of fits kind of nice. I've got to make a bracket to hold it. That's going to clear the hood. That's going to clear this. This is the magic one. You want this to be away from metal stuff. And making the bracket takes probably as much time as everything else in this project put together. So, pretty simple. I take this, and gosh, that looks awful nice right there, doesn't it? So, magic of self-tapping screws. Bit right here. Try not to drop these. When you drop them, they always end up in the tire. And then the tire goes flat the south side of Moab. And these. Making sure they're all the same, which it appears they are. Okay, there's the ground for the solenoid. And this is going to be the chassis ground, the battery. Put that there for a second. This is the wire that runs to the back of the car. And I want to make sure there's no end on it. I'm going to put it out there in the dirt so we don't fry ourselves. And then when we're ready, this is going to be the battery hookup. Before I do that, I'm going to run over there to that one. And what I didn't do, put it sideways. Remember to grab the screwdriver. I'll be right back.